Hey there, I'm Gio Benitez. It is Tuesday, August 25th. You've got questions, we've got answers. This is Search, where we're breaking down what you're asking right now in real time. Let's get right to it. We've got Bethany Braun-Silva right here, filling in for Maya. And Bethany, we've got some breaking news here, and it is very sad news.
Yes, Gio, terribly sad. The world is remembering Dolly Parton, who has died at 80. Her family says the country music legend died peacefully in Nashville. Tributes are already pouring in from across music and Hollywood, celebrating not only the voice behind Jolene, 9 to 5, and I Will Always Love You, but the warmth and generosity that made her one of America's most beloved entertainers. Searches are spiking with questions about Dolly's health, where she lived, and the legacy she leaves behind.
And what a legacy it is. Bethany, thank you so much. So let's dive a little deeper now into the story that none of us can stop talking about right now. The passing of this country icon, Dolly Parton, dying at 80 years old. And we've got Sirius XM radio host and our friend Mike Muse here. Mike, I got to say, my heart dropped when I saw this. I know it did for you as well. Tell us, what do we know right now about Dolly's death?
What we know right now is that she died at her home in Nashville. That is what reports, and her family has issued a statement as saying. And the cause of death, what we don't know specifically with the family, but we do know that she was having extreme issues with immune digestive dynamics that was occurring with her health. She said in a statement back in 2025 that she was really grief-stricken at the passing of her husband, Carl Dean, in 2025. And she was so focused on taking care of him and her grief that she let her own self go. In her words, she said that she was feeling worn down by it all.
Oh, I can just imagine. And of course, there is a lot of search interest right now in her health struggles. What did she say in her final interview?
In her final interview, that is what she was suggesting, was that she did not take care of herself as best as she could in the passing of her husband, Carl Dean. And she was also had to cancel a Las Vegas residency, to which many fans began to speculate, was there a health decline? And then when she took some time for herself.
All right, Mike Muse, thank you so much for joining us here on this breaking news. And we're going to keep talking about this. For more on the life and legacy of Dolly Parton right now, let's go ahead and bring in Roxy Diaz. And Roxy, you made the point earlier today here on ABC News Live. You were saying that, of course, it's just speculation, but you'd have to think that somehow her broken heart must have played a role in this.
Oh, by far. I mean, when you spend over 60 years with somebody, she called Carl the love of her life. She was married with him for 59 years. They met at a laundromat when they were just very, very young, washing clothes together. She says this handsome man walked into there and then just took her breath away. You know, he infamously spent a lot of time out of the spotlight, but through and through, Dolly was just enamored by him, and their love lasted for a very long time. He passed away in March, and you just can't help but to think that a broken heart may have played a role in her sadness, may have played a role in her passing.
Absolutely. It is just so heartbreaking. So tell us right now, because a lot of people are going online and they're searching for her legacy, and my goodness, there are so many things that come to mind.
Oh, so many things. I could spend a whole entire show talking about it. Dolly was the queen of country, but so much more than that. 3,000 songs, movie star, theme park owner, and one of entertainment's greatest philanthropists. 11 Grammys, 100 million records, and maybe most of all, one star that everybody truly loved. We know that fans right now are pouring into the Country Hall of Fame right now, writing in a notebook and writing their thoughts and prayers to Dolly Parton. Also, as you can see right now at Hollywood Boulevard, her star is starting to be flooded with memories, flowers, cards that are going to be left there. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see that memorial just growing and growing throughout, possibly for a long time, for the rest of this week.
Without a doubt, every single generation has some sort of connection with Dolly Parton, and it's just so beautiful. And part of that, of course, are her beautiful songs. So why don't you take us through that incredible discography with all of her iconic songs?
Oh, man. 100%. I mean, I've been victim to a very bad karaoke night trying to sing 9 to 5. I don't know about you, Gio, but I did try it. And Jolene, from the top of my lungs, ones that she infamously just remixed with a collaboration that she did with Beyonce that we got to love too. Island in the Stream and I Will Always Love You, a song that a lot of people, you know, think is Whitney Houston's song, but no, that one was written and created by Dolly Parton. You know, she wrote it as a goodbye to her mentor, then turned into one of the best-selling songs ever for Whitney Houston, which we of course saw with her in The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner. At 77, she was still recording with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. I mean, the hits never stopped. She never stopped collaborating, never stopped recording. A lot of fans also loved the moment that she would share with her goddaughter, Miley Cyrus, and whenever they joined the stage together. I mean, it was she just never stopped and influenced so many generations.
Roxy, you know, I covered those terrible fires in Tennessee, the fires that threatened Dollywood as those fires really approached that theme park. And I remember she gave so much money to help the people of Tennessee who were struggling there. Tell us about her philanthropy.
Oh, Gio, and you mentioned the fires. You know that she was giving $1,000 a month to the families that were displaced from those 2016 Sevier County wildfires, and that's just to name a few. Her greatest hit, maybe her Imagination Library. It was inspired by her own father, who never learned to read, and they mailed over 1 million books. I mean, I've heard 300 million books of free books worldwide to children. A whole generation, actually Generation X, really knows her as the book lady. I mean, she was phenomenal at what she did. And I'm hearing also that the family is asking that instead of flowers, that please to make a contribution to her Imagination Library.
You've given us so much to think about looking back at her career and her life. What do you think she's going to be remembered for the most?
I mean, you know what? For me, I'm going to go off script on here. I had the pleasure of being able to interview Dolly on several occasions. My last fondest memory with her was at the Music Cares Grammys celebration, and she was a girl's girl, Gio. She was a girl's girl through and through, and she would never, ever, ever step outside of her house without being done to a T. Her makeup always had to be done, and she told me that she would not allow Carl to see her without being Dolly Parton. I mean, that just was her character. That is just who she is, and I think that's something that a lot of people are going to remember her from, especially women that have been able to be close to her, as a girl's girl through and through.
And there's something about that voice, just hearing her speak, that gave you so much comfort. Roxy Diaz, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. All right, so let's get to Will Gans right now for more on the tributes that are coming in from fans, Hollywood, and of course, her beloved Tennessee. Okay, Will, so tell us, who is paying tribute to her right now?
I mean, you think about the legacy that Dolly Parton leaves, right? She was one of 12 children raised in a 2-bedroom home with no electricity, no running water in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. And somehow today, we have the announcement from the President of the United States that flags will be lowered to half staff for the next week. That is the impact that this woman made, that she has made fans of truly everybody. And, you know, Maren Morris tweeted today that Dolly is the person we could all agree on. And I think that that's so true. Reba McEntire, who, of course, is the fellow queen of country, writing in part, "We will remember and cherish every memory and every note you ever played and sang. Thank you, Lord, for Dolly." She's going to have a blast in heaven singing all her favorite songs with all her family and friends who have gone on before her. Speaking of those family and friends who have gone on before her, Carl Dean, as Roxy just pointed out, one of the great love stories of Hollywood and Nashville and beyond. Keke Palmer said that she's devastated. Casey Musgrave said the world feels a lot less sparkly today. And Dolly's own family weighing in. And in fact, it was her nephew, Brian Seaver, who made the announcement today that she had passed in a video message. Take a look at that.
Our family and the team she has entrusted with her legacy will work diligently to ensure her spirit will live with us forever. Dolly was a farmer, just like her daddy. He farmed the soil, she farmed songs and happiness. Dolly called me and said she wants to rest in a beautiful bed of plush cotton because after a life wearing heavy rhinestones, she finally deserves to be comfortable and have some rest. Rest in peace, Aunt Dolly.
And I will always love you. You see that there. Gio, she also was known to say that a rhinestone sparkles just as good as a diamond. And I think all of us today can agree that she sparkled better than a diamond ever could. 80 years, what a legacy. We will always love you, Dolly.
Oh, absolutely. And Will, behind you, I'm seeing that beautiful cross, and she was such a woman of faith. And in Christianity, we talk about love thy neighbor, and boy, did she live that message. Will Gans, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And Dolly Parton, of course, was 80 years old, and through her family, legacy, and philanthropy, she will never be forgotten. We'll be right back. All right, let's get to some of the other searches today and pivot to San Francisco 49ers owner Jed York, who was arrested in Ohio. We've got our Peter Haralambous here to fill us in on this. Okay, Peter, so tell us, who is Jed York and what are the charges?
Yeah, Gio, Jed York is the CEO and majority owner of the 49ers. He also owns two teams over in the UK, two soccer clubs. And he was arrested over the weekend as part of this prostitution sting. According to court records reviewed by ABC News, he began communicating over his phone with someone who he believed to be a prostitute. That was actually an undercover officer. The next morning, on Sunday morning, when he showed up at a mobile home in East Palestine, Ohio, to meet up with this person he believed to be a prostitute, he was arrested. He was charged initially with engaging in prostitution and possession of a criminal tool, though as part of a plea, they downgraded that prostitution charge just to disorderly conduct. These are both misdemeanor charges.
Peter, have the NFL or 49ers commented on this?
Yeah, so the 49ers are not going to comment because this is an ongoing legal situation. That's what they said in a statement. And the NFL says that the incident will be reviewed as part of their personal conduct policy.
And he was charged, obviously, with possessing a criminal tool. So people are searching for what exactly that means, possessing a criminal tool.
Yeah, it's really a technical term in this case, but if you were to break it down, all it is a tool used to commit a crime, a device or a tool. In this case, we believe it was the cell phone that he actually used to allegedly communicate with the person who we believe to be a prostitute, who's actually that undercover officer. Over that phone, they scheduled that meeting. They also agreed for about 1 hour of services for about $160. That's what makes this the tool, even though it's not really fitting that description.
And people are searching right now. They want to know more about his background and how he became owner of the 49ers.
It's really just a family business. He graduated from Notre Dame, did about a year at an investment firm, and then immediately began working for the family business. His uncle bought the team from the original founder. His parents are the co-chairs of the team. He became the CEO back in 2008, and he got enough shares from his mother in 2024 to become the majority owner. Under his leadership, the 49ers have gotten a new stadium. They also went to the Super Bowl 3 times, though they lost every single time they went.
All right, Peter Haralambous, thank you so much. Appreciate you for bringing us that. And time now to tee up the latest cost of living adjustment announcement for Social Security set for October. Michelle Franzen is here to answer those top search questions. Michelle, it is good to see you. So why don't you remind our viewers first, what is COLA?
Well, it's not the drink. COLA stands for the cost of living adjustment, and the big question is what the COLA payments will be in 2027. Those adjustments are made every year, Gio.
Okay, so this announcement is expected on October 14th. So what are we expecting?
Well, we're expecting, as you mentioned, those numbers set to come out in October. Analysts estimate that there will be a 3.4% increase to payments to Social Security and the supplemental security income beneficiaries. That's lower than what analysts originally projected for 2027, but up since 2026. Now, government data shows nearly 75 million Social Security and SSI beneficiaries received a 2.8% increase for this year.
And Michelle, does inflation have any impact here on this cost of living adjustment?
It does. Inflation does factor in when the government is figuring out those figures of what the COLA payments will be for the coming year. That typically takes the latest figures that they have at the time. Those reports, though, are backward looking, Gio, which means by the time 2027 rolls around, that inflation data could be outdated in this economic climate.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as you can imagine, Michelle, we're looking at these searches, and a lot of people are asking about the Trump administration's changes to Social Security and how that big, beautiful bill that we talk so much about, how that impacts taxes.
Yeah, Social Security is a hot topic for some time. It's been, and some lawmakers have proposed even making sweeping changes to the system. President Trump, though, all along pledging that he will protect Social Security benefits. Other concern, though, Gio, is whether Social Security funds will be there for future generations, with reported shortfalls projected to come in the coming decade.
All right, Michelle Franzen, thank you so much. Really good information there. We appreciate it. All right, coming up here, one search always leads to another. We've got that trending topic, but that is just the surface. The new study that may have you thinking twice about blasting music in the car. It's The Spiral, and it's next. And welcome back to Search. Today's top searches are only a part of the story. A simple scroll can sometimes take you down that deep rabbit hole. It's time now for The Spiral. Okay, so it looks like you have a lot of questions right now about driving. We're following your clicks and curiosity. It looks like you want to know more about what a new study from Harvard is saying about traffic deaths and tips to stay safe on the road. Let's go ahead and break that all down. We've got Dr. Anupam Jena up first, then Kellen Howell. We appreciate having both of you here for this important discussion. So let's start with Dr. Anupam Jena, co-author of that recent study that associates traffic fatalities with the release of major music albums. So that's so fascinating. Dr. Jena, thank you for being here and providing your insight. So the question that really frames this entire study is the use of smartphones to stream music associated with increases in traffic fatalities? So what did you find?
The short answer is yes, we think it is. So we looked at about 5 or 6 years of data. We looked at the 10 most downloaded albums on Spotify over that period. And these are albums which are downloaded, millions of times per day. And if you look at what happens on the specific day that one of these albums is released, we have more than 100 million streams on Spotify on those days, and traffic fatalities go up about 15% nationally on just that day where the album is released.
I'm so fascinated by this because obviously you must have thought that, okay, on these album release days, we're going to have many more people using those smartphones. So what music releases specifically did this study look at?
So Drake had a few albums during this period, Bad Bunny, Taylor Swift. Those are sort of I don't want to use the word culprits, but those are the main albums we're talking about during that period.
And those were very, very popular albums. They still are, but they were at the time, especially when they came out. So what age group did this study find was distracted and affected the most?
So it's actually all age groups, but if you look at younger adults, you see a larger effect in that group, and that kind of makes sense. That music is sort of more oriented towards them, and they might be more likely to be using smartphones while driving as well.
You know, Doctor, I'm ashamed to say, quite frankly, that back when I was in college and smartphones were really coming out, and I was looking at it, and I got into an accident. Thank goodness everyone was safe and okay, but it shook me up. And so I can imagine that this is something that a lot of parents are asking right now. Is there a solution here to prevent these kinds of distractions?
I think the first thing is just to be aware that this kind of thing could happen. I mean, we all know that texting while driving or using your phone while driving is not a good idea. But these are very specific moments in time where the risk seems to be higher. And whether it's because people are playing the music louder, because they're actually like toggling with the phone, messing with the infotainment system like Apple CarPlay, hard to know what's going on. But my sense is the first thing is just to be aware that this is a very specific time when the risk seems to be elevated.
That's right. And you got to take this seriously. You got to take it seriously. Dr. Anupam Jena, thank you so much. We appreciate having you here just after that study's release. We appreciate it. So let's go ahead and bring in AAA spokesperson now, Kellen Howell. Kellen, good to see you. Thank you for being here. So people are searching. They want to know, what are 90% of vehicle accidents actually caused by? What does the AAA data say?
Well, we do know that distraction is a huge factor in a lot of vehicle crashes. Things like texting while driving, checking emails, even using the infotainment system, all of those can be factors in distraction and in crashes. But another big factor is speeding. And we just released a study from the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety recently that found that many Americans view driving as much as 10 miles an hour over the speed limit as totally fine and acceptable. But we know that speeding is a major contributor to fatalities. In fact, 30% of all traffic deaths nationwide in 2024 involved a driver who was speeding.
Wow. Okay. So what are the most common driving mistakes?
Some of the most common driving mistakes would be things like not leaving yourself enough space between your vehicle and vehicles in front or behind or around you. And again, speeding is a big factor there. You want to make sure that you're traveling at a speed that allows you time to react to unpredictable situations on the road, because that can make all of the difference in a crash. Also accounting for weather and other road conditions. Right now is back to school. And so there's a lot of factors to consider, like school buses being on the road or kids crossing the street. And so it's really important for drivers to pay attention to their surroundings, give plenty of time to react, even if it means taking an extra second before hitting the gas pedal.
Well, you just mentioned back to school, because we really are approaching it. It's coming up. And some new drivers, they're going to be hitting the roads too. So what should people consider?
Definitely. Yeah. Back to school has already happened in my area. And in fact, one of our top tips is to make sure that you're giving yourself extra time on your commute in the mornings and in the afternoons. I was guilty of this myself. I had an appointment to get to yesterday morning. I forgot, hey, it's the first day of school. And of course, there was a lot of traffic. That can lead to drivers feeling a little bit stressed out. Maybe they make risky decisions like speeding or cutting off another driver. Another thing, you were talking about new drivers getting on the road. Parents should really have conversations with their teens about safe driving behavior. AAA has studies that show that 1 in 4 fatal crashes involving a teen driver happens between 3 and 7 p.m. So those after school hours, when a lot of them are driving home from school or after school activities. So it's important to talk to those teen drivers about safe driving habits.
That's right. And it's not just for young people, because we see how distracted people are. You say texting while driving. How about texting while walking? We see so many accidents just like that because people are just so distracted. Kellen Howell, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. An important conversation. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. And I'm Gio Benitez. This is Searched on ABC News Live, where your questions meet real answers. We're going to leave you with what's trending right now over on abcnews.com. You can scan that QR code that you're going to see right there on your screen, and you can catch up, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Have a great day.